Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, friends all. It is our privilege today to honor a special historic preservation project by presenting the 2020 Advisory Council on Historic Preservation and the Department of Housing and Urban Development Secretary's Award for Excellence in Historic Preservation. The ACHP Chairman, Amy Georgiani, will soon come to us live from Jefferson, North Carolina, where she will present the award to Donald Tice of Tice Keister Architects for this Historic Ashe Hospital project. Our partners in this project that turned out to really support the former hospital into a home for senior citizens and people with disabilities will accept this award virtually. I sat on the award jury, and one of the main reasons we selected this project was the community involvement. This project mattered to all those involved, from the local residents to the people storing and preserving the building. They all pulled together to make this happen and to provide affordable living space that was sorely needed in the area. To fully understand and appreciate the true value and impact of this project that has had both significance to preserving a piece of history, to providing viable housing place, please join me in watching this video.
In the late 1930s, Ashe County, North Carolina was desperately in need of a hospital. Prior to its construction, area residents had to seek medical care from traveling doctors on horseback or endure a long ride in a wagon or truck to neighboring counties. The residents of Jefferson, a rural Appalachian community, pulled together to make the first hospital a reality, utilizing the Works Progress Administration, an employment and infrastructure program created by President Franklin Roosevelt to help the country through the Great Depression. Neighbors pitched in to help build the hospital. Others donated the building materials. The Duke Foundation covered gaps in the financing, and Ashe County Memorial Hospital opened in 1941. After a new hospital was built in 1971, the old hospital building eventually was abandoned and fell into disrepair. Again, the community stepped up and saved the building with the goal of utilizing the now historic hospital as much-needed housing for low-income senior citizens and people with disabilities. A group of partners joined together to undertake the $9.1 million project of turning the hospital into a home for dozens of people in need, including Tice Keister Architects, Northwestern Housing Enterprises, ALH General Contractor, Northwestern Regional Housing Authority, Redstone Equity Partners LLC, Bank of Tennessee, Federal Home Loan Bank of Cincinnati, and North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. Funding of the development included $5.5 million in private investment, 9% low-income housing tax credits, and federal and state historic tax credits. Government participation in project finance was provided by the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency and also the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development through Section 8 project-based vouchers. The project worked to meet preservation guidelines by repairing rather than replacing existing historic windows, restoring exterior stonework, and preserving interior architectural features and finishes, such as baseboards, door casings, and corridor doors. The Section 106 review resulted in a finding of no adverse effect. The transformation of the hospital focused on historic preservation, sustainability, and the use of natural light. Wide hallways, tall ceilings, and large windows remind residents of great public spaces of the past. Windows, doors, and oak floors are original. The hallways look as they did when the hospital was first built, although some of the interior doors no longer are open to preserve the integrity of the original layout of the building. The new Historic Ashe Hospital opened in the beginning of 2019 with 46 apartments, a mix of studio, 1- and 2-bedroom units. There are 19 units in the historic building and 27 in a new complementary addition, a library, a computer room, and 3 meeting rooms available to the community. The front lobby of the historic building features a memory room, displaying artifacts from the old hospital and telling its story. The project has deep meaning for the community since many of the current tenants and their families, construction staff, and neighbors had personal experiences there. Many said they were born, delivered their children, or said goodbye to loved ones they lost there at the hospital. Resident artist George Kozinski created an original painting now hung proudly in the building entitled Horse Doctor, depicting a physician riding horseback to deliver health care through the snow-covered Blue Ridge Mountains. The rehabilitation of Ashe Hospital now serves Ashe County as a destination for local residents, provides much-needed affordable housing to seniors and people with disabilities, and has contributed greatly to the vitality of the local community. The revitalized hospital has indeed become a home, one highlighted by a strong community of residents actively caring for one another. That is why Historic Ashe Hospital is the 2020 recipient of the ACHP HUD Secretary's Award for Excellence in Historic Preservation.
Good afternoon from Ashe Hospital. Are you all able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
I am just arrived on this gorgeous, gorgeous sunny day in, northwestern North Carolina. The fall colors are just at their peak, and I wish you could all see the view from the front porch that we just saw in these pictures. I am Amy Giorgiani, the chairman of the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation. As well, I'd like to welcome Congresswoman Fox and all the other folks that are participating today. Good to see you, Mr. Stanton. The ACHP is a small federal independent agency that promotes the sustainable use of our nation's diverse historic resources and advises the President and the Congress on national preservation policy. The agency consists of 24 statutorily designated members and addresses policy issues and directs program initiatives and makes recommendations regarding historic preservation to heads of other federal agencies. HUD is a member of our council and an active participant. And we also administer the Section 106 portion of the National Historic Preservation Act. Section 106 requires federal agencies and those who receive federal funding or federal licenses to consider historic preservation when undertaking projects. This annual award recognizes developers, organizations, and agencies for their success in advancing the goals of historic preservation, while at the same time providing affordable housing and/or expanded economic opportunities for low and moderate income families and individuals. These projects are so neat to see firsthand. They are just right at the heart of the community. For this award, we are grateful to be partnering with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Secretary Ben Carson strongly supports historic preservation and understands that the adaptive reuse of historic buildings into affordable housing helps build positive relationships and can also aid in revitalization efforts. Representing Secretary Carson today, I am pleased to introduce HUD Deputy Secretary Brian Montgomery.
Thank you very much, Amy. On behalf of Secretary Carson, whom I am honored to represent this afternoon, it is my pleasure to join you in presenting this year's ACHP HUD Secretary's Award for Excellence in Historic Preservation. I want to welcome everyone who is with us virtually in celebrating this tremendous achievement. And Amy, we appreciate you being in Jefferson, North Carolina to present this award in person. And thank you as well, Mr. Donald Tice, for accepting this award on behalf of this magnificent team. I won't name everyone involved, but a large group of partners who work together to make this happen. Thank you all for joining us. This is the 4th year the Secretary's Award has been presented. It recognizes the project in this country that best successfully integrates historic preservation with HUD's mission of affordable housing, community revitalization, and economic development. This year's winner, the Historic Ashe Hospital project, is not only a remarkable story of success, it is an inspiration for a number of reasons. If you read the history, it is impossible not to be amazed at how the former hospital began in 1939 as a Works Progress Administration project. Perhaps more heartwarming is the deep connection the facility has to the community, and in fact to many of its new residents. Whether someone that was born at Ashe Hospital or had children born there, or were treated or had family members treated by the hospital, it's a place that means a great deal to the people who now call Historic Ashe Hospital home. As we all look at the before and after pictures, it's overwhelming to see what can be done when leadership and creativity, ingenuity and innovation are applied, and when people have their heads, hearts, and their pocketbooks in the right place. As someone who has spent a good number of years at HUD with 2 tours of duty, I have to say one of the most rewarding parts of the job is the real opportunity to help seniors and persons with disabilities. What's also central to HUD's mission is playing some part in delivering new affordable units to people who need them and seeing immediate and robust usage in areas of our country that so sorely need the housing. HUD is especially pleased to honor a project in rural America this year. The Historic Ashe Hospital was originally built in a collaborative effort between community residents and the WPA. I understand some families who bought stock subscriptions still have their stock certificates. People donated their time and whatever building materials they could during that time to get the job done. The community came together again 80 years later to restore and reinvent the building for affordable housing for low-income seniors and individuals with disabilities. The project incorporates sustainable principles by reusing an existing building and in meeting Energy Star standards. HUD Section 8 vouchers ensure that the residents pay no more than 30% of their income for rent and the 46 new units added to the community's housing stock with this project. The project is a model of combining low-income housing tax credits with federal and state historic tax credits to transform important heritage buildings into affordable homes. So again, it is my pleasure, on behalf of Secretary Carson and all of our colleagues at HUD and the ACHP, to recognize the Historic Ashe Hospital project as the winner of the 2020 ACHP HUD Secretary's Award for Excellence in Historic Preservation. These projects not only save historic landmarks, they improve people's lives and make a difference in our country. Congratulations to everyone involved in this remarkable effort, to the public, private, and nonprofit partners that made this $9.1 million project a reality for the people of Jefferson. Congratulations to members of this great community who supported and now reap the rewards of this preservation, and to the residents who now enjoy their new home. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary Montgomery. And also we want to thank Secretary Carson, each of you for your leadership and support of historic preservation. My friends, we are delighted and privileged to be joined today by several North Carolina elected officials who want to congratulate those involved in this magnificent project, the preservation of the historic Ashe Hotel. First, we will have representing North Carolina 5th Congressional District. I am pleased to introduce Representative Virginia Fox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stanton. I appreciate your effort in this also, and the efforts of all of the committee who chose the Historic Ashe Hospital project. This really has been a community effort over the years. I think the video did a very, very fine job of representing how important this hospital was to the community when it was built and then rebuilt. And Ashe County is a fairly remote county, but it has some of the finest people in the world living there. I was there just last night, as a matter of fact, and we'll be over there again on Saturday. I love going over there. And in our part of the world, Ashe County has somewhat been rediscovered or discovered by people from outside. It has a booming downtown right now, which is very unusual, as most of us know, for small towns in rural areas. But it is a great place to live and work, and I am extraordinarily proud of this. I can remember when this project started. I've been representing Ashe County in the state Senate and in the Congress for some time. And there was a lot of interest in this project. People want to preserve their old buildings. We have an Ashe County Historical Society, which has preserved the old courthouse in Ashe County. And it is supported by thousands of people in the county and presents many programs. The people of the mountains of North Carolina are very proud of their history and very proud of their heritage. And anytime that we can preserve a wonderful building like this, it makes the people, it makes them feel very good about their heritage and their history. They're very, very smart people who grew up in this area. They had to be smart, they had to be ingenious, they had to be industrious to survive in the harsh climate that existed here in the past, the lack of roads, and many of the things you talked about. But don't ever sell them short. They're smart, as I said, industrious and ingenious people. And I know they're very proud of this project, and it certainly is benefiting people who need to be benefited from this. I'm always proud to see a partnership and collaboration like this result in such a great project. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this program today. So I'm going to stay on for a couple of more minutes and hear the others speak, and then I will have to leave. But it really has been an honor for me to be a part of it today. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Fox. And please know we are grateful for your leadership and support. Now representing North Carolina Governor Ray Cooper, please welcome Susie Hamilton, Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. Secretary Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Stanton. Yes, my name is Susie Hamilton, and I have the pleasure to serve as the Cabinet Secretary for Governor Roy Cooper's administration for the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. I am particularly honored to be here today to congratulate the Historic Ashe Hospital project on this prestigious award for excellence in historic preservation. I know how significant this is. My first job out of college was with the State Historic Preservation Office. I started my career in historic preservation and continued to work in that field as a city planner in Washington, North Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina. It's an honor to now lead the agency where I first connected with my passion for this work. In the 1930s, the nearest hospital to Ashe County was 35 miles away. A committee formed to investigate the possibility of establishing a local hospital, and it found that several people in the community had recently died due to a lack of access to adequate medical care. In 1941, the Ashe County Memorial Hospital was built through the cooperative efforts of the Federal Works Progress Administration, which provided labor, the local community, which donated money and equipment, and the Duke Endowment, which provided a cash contribution and staffing assistance. Ashe County school children contributed their dimes to the effort. Women's club members donated linens, local manufacturing companies donated blankets, and a stove for the kitchen. Merchants placed collection containers in their businesses to raise money. Everyone contributed what they could. This hospital was and is truly a community effort. Ashe County Memorial Hospital remained in operation until a new, more modern hospital opened in 1970. With the assistance from our Historic Preservation Office, the building was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2015. Spurred by the use of federal and state historic tax credits, the building underwent a rehabilitation between 2017 and 2018 to transform this former hospital into an affordable housing community with 46 apartments. I'm pleased to note that our Historic Preservation Office in North Carolina and our staff again played a large role in shepherding the project through the process. Now known as Historic Ashe Hospital, the building continues to serve the community, housing local seniors rather than patients. I can't think of a better outcome or a more fitting transformation for a place that this community worked so hard to build all those years ago. Congratulations, and well deserved.
Thank you very much, Secretary Hamilton. You are a valued colleague in the field of cultural and natural resource preservation, and we have much work to continue to do. Thank you very much for your support, your leadership.
Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, representing the District 45 in North Carolina State Senate, it's a pleasure to introduce Senator Deanna Ballard. Senator Ballard.
Thank you, Mr. Stanton. And again, I'm just going to echo what Congresswoman Fox and Secretary Hamilton have both shared just regarding this project. I mean, the project is in itself the fabric of this community. And I think it's really exciting. Over the last year, folks have been able to really see it in its new purpose. And that's really at the heart of what Ashe County is. They invest in each other and they really spur each other on into new adventures. And I think that that's just really something that I'm really tickled to see as we continue to move forward. But even out of COVID and the last year that we've had, I think everyone should just really understand how this community really comes together and supports one another, no matter the circumstance and no matter the situation. So again, I'm just thrilled to see the project being celebrated and highlighted, but most of all, I'm just really tickled to see that the community itself is being celebrated and recognized for its impact and pulling together. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Scott Farmer and his assistance with the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency and the partnership that we have there with them through the General Assembly too. So again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Senator Ballard, for your very kind comments. And we too applaud your leadership and support. And that goes as well to your colleague in the North Carolina Assembly. Now let me bring back our leader, Chairman Judge Ernie, to begin the award ceremony. Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Stanton. I'm the lucky one to be here today. I get to hear other participants that are zooming in from down the hall clap after all the speakers. So we're really enjoying all the participants today and their remarks and with this project. As I mentioned earlier, the joint award recognizes projects that successfully combine historic preservation with new or expanded affordable housing projects for those who need it the most. We are pleased to honor this project that represents all of those qualities as we give this joint award today to Historic Ashe Hospital. I would like to thank the ACHP and HUD staff and the jurors for their commitment in selecting an outstanding project for this year's award. From the ACHP, Mr. Bob Stanton and our Vice Chairman, Rick Gonzalez, and a member, Jordan Tannenbaum, and the awards coordinator, of course, Patricia Knoll. And then from HUD, Nancy Boone, Lauren McNamara, and Will Ruddy with the review process. Historic Ashe Hospital, as we know, opened in 1941 as the first hospital in Ashe County. It proudly serves the community for decades until the new hospital was built, which I actually just passed not too long ago. Even though it could have been torn down, on this prominent location here that you can really just see the horizon of, and the overview of the town, it was not. The local residents longed to give it a new purpose, a new way to help local citizens. This project has given it a new life where new memories are being made, a safe and secure home for seniors and those with disabilities, and a place where the community can come together. Funding was a mix of private and public investment. It certainly takes these public-private partnerships to make a project like this feasible. And with the historic and the housing tax credits, and HUD provided Section 8 project-based vouchers. For all these reasons, we are so thrilled to honor Historic Ashe Hospital with the 2020 ACHP HUD Secretary's Award for excellence in historic preservation. So I would like to ask Mr. Donald Tice with Tice Architects to join me in accepting this award. And we've got it right here. And I will safely hand it off to Mr. Tice, if you could join me. We've got this beautiful etched award here, and if you'd like to say a few words.
Okay, thank you very much. First, for the team, I would like to thank ACHP, HUD, North Carolina Housing Finance, State Historic Preservation Office, National Park Service, everyone that's involved in making something like this happen. So graciously accept this reward for the team. And everyone's kind of really just reflecting on some of the comments already made by the Deputy Secretary, Mr. Stanton. Historic restoration has two primary goals. One is to restore the architectural components of the building and the site, and the other is to maintain the connection, the cultural connection from the past to the present. And I feel like Historic Ashe Hospital has done both of these quite successfully, as outlined in the previous remarks. The other thing is that's important about this award for us, for our team, and particularly for Ned Fowler, is that it shows how affordable can be supported by historic tax credit restoration. And in the past, with Ned's team and Ned's help, we've done quite a few of these projects where we've combined historic restoration with affordable housing. And when you do this, you create this wonderful sense of place that provides a sense of security and a sense of dignity and self-worth to the tenants and the people that live there and around the building. And so it's really, it's an aspiration for all of us, whether we're on the accounting side or the design side, to reach that type of goal in our buildings. And very briefly, a couple of people I want to thank, or a couple of groups. You can't have good architecture without a good client. That's just a rule. Every architect out there knows. I see Mr. Stanton laughing at that one, laughing knowingly. Ned Fowler and Northwestern Regional Housing Authority are simply the best. Ned has the mind of a poet and the heart of a poet and the mind of an accountant. And you need a developer with historic restoration when you're repurposing a building like this to be able to use both sides of their brain. And you can't have your typical beam counter developer. It takes a lot of imagination, and it takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, as my dad would say. And then another important team member to thank is Alan Herman and his crew, the general contractor. They did an incredibly sensitive job from the wood floors to wood detailing in the overhangs to rebuilding stone components. They just did a fabulous job, and Alan and his team can't be thanked enough for what they've done here. And then very quickly, since it's only about a week and a half away from Halloween, I have to mention that before this renovation, prior to this renovation, Historic Ashe Hospital was listed as the most haunted building in the state of North Carolina. And which gave me pause to come up here to do the existing documentation the first time. But I think if Alan were here, he could confirm we only had one haunting during the construction. But historic restoration, regardless of the previous reputation of the building, is always scary. So for the team, thank you for this recognition. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, congratulations on being the 2020 recipient of the ACHP and HUD Preservation Excellence Award. This project, as one could readily imagine, was successful because of a strong group of partners who each played a vital role in bringing this project to fruition. We will now recognize those partners. They have each been sent a certificate of honor. Please, when I call your name, please offer a few words. First, we'll have Mr. Ned Fowler, President of the Northwestern Housing Enterprise, Incorporated. Ned?
Thank you, sir. And I especially thank the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation and the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, all of our development team members, Don, thank you for your kind words. It does take a great team, and we were fortunate here. We had a wonderful team working together to make this a reality, and a great, locally important historic building to restore and save and repurpose. Thank you so much for the recognition, Northwestern Housing Enterprises Incorporated as developer. Thanks again.
Congratulations and thank you and your firm very much. Now we'll hear from Mr. Alan Herman, President of ALH General Contractor. Alan?
Well, I'd like to thank Ned, Fowler, and Don for entrusting us with building this project, and for all the guidance they gave us, and for Don's fantastic set of drawings. And I think the cooperation was excellent between all of us. I really appreciate that part. And I'd also like to thank the hundreds of tradespeople that worked on this job to contribute over 77,000 work hours to complete the project. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Now we'll hear from Ms. Aurelia Leonard, Deputy Director, Northwestern Regional Housing Authority.
Hello, thank you. On behalf of the board and staff of the Northwestern Regional Housing Authority, I want to thank you for this award. It was a labor of love for everyone. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Now we'll hear from Mr. Darren Swanson, who is the Managing Director, Acquisition, Redstone Equity Partners.
Thank you so much. Here's my certificate. Oh, it's fading into the background. That's funny. We couldn't be more excited and proud of this important development on so many fronts. We've invested about $6.5 billion nationally throughout our platform. And I have a personal interest in historic rehabs, having grown up with a father who was an architect. In fact, I took him to see this development about 2 years ago during a visit. They are amongst the most complicated and difficult transactions to execute under. And I have to applaud Ned Fowler and his team for their tireless efforts over many, many years to bring this to fruition. Obviously, Scott Farmer and his team for allowing us that opportunity through their award. And look, I went to Appalachian State just right down the road from this. I got married in Blowing Rock, and I'm currently sheltering in place in Brevard. So I'm a mountain man. I'm a lover of architect and preservation. And to get an honor like this with a group that's worked so hard to see it come to fruition hits every aspect of the love of this industry that I have. So I appreciate it, and I'm just proud of everyone's efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much for you and your partners for the unwavering support of this project. Now we'll hear from Ms. Stephanie Dixon, Senior Vice President, Bank of Tennessee.
On behalf of Bank of Tennessee, certainly want to say thank you to everyone, and especially to Ned Fowler for allowing me to be the lender during the construction and the permanent financing of this project. As was stated earlier, when seeing the property at the state when it was in disrepair, Ned had a true vision, and I couldn't quite see it, but it is an amazing, amazing property now, and just glad that we were able to be one piece of the puzzle to make it happen. I know we also have a representative, Mr. Howe from the Federal Home Loan Bank, who will be speaking right after me, but also was glad to be able to partner with Federal Home Loan Bank and help secure additional funds that made this project a reality. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. And as Vice President of the Bank of Tennessee, please know that you have a friend in all of us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andy Howe, President and CEO of the Federal Housing Loan Bank of Cincinnati.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can see me and see the presentation here, so thank you for that. I do want to thank Chair Giorgiani, ACHP, and HUD for including us in this special recognition award, and our member Bank of Tennessee, that you just heard from with Stephen, for supporting affordable housing initiatives in their local communities, and more specifically for teaming up with Northwest Housing Enterprises for this unique project that combines the repurposing of as we've seen, the historic structure to help meet the affordable housing needs of today. Many of you may not know, but the Federal Home Loan Bank of Cincinnati is a banking cooperative chartered by Congress, but wholly owned by our financial institutions in our three-state region of Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So our member, Bank of Tennessee, received a competitive grant from the Federal Home Loan Bank of $880,000 to support unique projects such as this that has generated more than 40 rental units for very low-income elderly households, and I understand 10 of which will be coming out of homelessness. Our congressionally established grant programs gap funding helps to create hundreds of affordable housing units each year. And since program inception in 1990, more than $749 million has been awarded to over 93,000 units of housing. We greatly admire the work of Stephen Dixon and the rest of the leadership team at Bank of Tennessee and their dedication to improving the financial health and well-being of both their customers and their communities served. This award is certainly a special honor, and we're grateful to them for bringing us to the table as a partner in this well-deserving project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we'll hear from Mr. Scott Farmer, who is the Executive Director of the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. Mr. Fowler. Mr. Farmer, I'm sorry. Mr. Farmer.
No problem. First of all, thank you very much to HUD and ACHP for recognizing this project. We're happy to receive this award, but more importantly, we're excited for the citizens of Ashe County and Jefferson for the housing that Ned and Don and his entire team have provided for the folks in and around Ashe County. Growing up in Allegheny County, a next door neighbor to Ashe County, this project is near and dear to my heart as well. And Representative Fox could not have said it better in terms of the spirit and the fight and the heart of the folks in that part of our state. And so it's a pleasure for me to see them recognized for the hard work that's gone into this project. I also would be remiss if I did not thank, in addition to folks at HUD and ACHP, also Representative Fox and our members of Congress for providing the housing credit program and continuing to support that program, as well as the federal historic credits that went into this project. And then at the state level, Senator Ballard and our legislature have continued to fund a housing trust fund that also provided funding for this project, as well as the state historic tax credit. As you've seen today, these projects do not happen by themselves. It takes an entire community. It takes multiple layers and multiple partners to make any of these deals work. And again, the best outcome today is that we're recognizing a project not only for its architectural significance, its preservation of existing housing, but it's providing safe, decent, affordable housing for seniors and persons with disabilities in Ashe County, especially important during this pandemic. So again, thank you for allowing us to be part of this team, and congratulations to Ned, Don, and the entire team on such a great project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Farmer. Thank you very much. Again, congratulations to the 2020 award recipient and to our many outstanding partners. This has been a very important project, and all of you have our highest accommodation. And I would hope that we'll stay on the journey of preserving our rich and diverse cultural heritage. Thank you again for your contribution to that noble effort. The Historic Ashe Hotel has indeed become a home to many people. One of those residents is with us today to talk about the community, his experiences, and other experiences that form this complex. You will recognize him as a resident artist, Mr. George Kozinski, whom we spoke about in the video. And George and I perhaps are a kindred spirit in George, that my middle name is George. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one of the residents of the home.
Well, thank you very much, George, and thank you for the invitation to express a few remarks here. I've been asked to limit it to 3 minutes, so I've got a little story to tell. And I'm going to read, like many of you have been reading this morning. So I have been a budding hermit for the best part of the last 20 years, and following my stroke 6 years ago, I realized that living out in the sticks made it increasingly difficult traveling into town. On one of those occasions, I wandered into the Florence Thomas Art School to browse around, ending up talking with Kathleen, the manager. After I mentioned the beauty but difficulties of living in the middle of nowhere, she pushed a piece of paper across the table with a simple instruction: go talk to Ned. and Ned Fowler, by the way. In my attempt to talk to Ned, I found myself shuttling into the office of Christina Day, who filled out an application there and then, and by the grace of God, before I realized what was happening, I was allocated an apartment and moved in with the first residents January of last year. Living here with a fledgling community that's feeling its way around has been a very interesting experience for a hermit. I'm absolutely sure that it is an adjustment for everyone, which requires give and take. Everyone living here is of unique value, and it's been a pleasure meeting all the ones that I have and causing me to adjust accordingly. It's a community within the community of Ashe County. The old hospital was in a sad, dilapidated state for many years, and like many people, it needed saving. Fortunately, because of the opportunity and the individuals and institutions concerned, the old hospital was like folks here, able to enjoy a safety net of providential circumstances. Yes, a unique cooperative partnership. One can go on and on, the complementary inclusion of the components in the community from Ned and management through the staff and maintenance crew, the residents and various visitors make for an interesting place to interact meaningfully. The involvement of the financial partners, the architects and contractors, everyone made this a project well done. I love detail, and I'm especially mindful of the architect's decision to preserve historic burn marks from cigarette stubs carefully kindled in healthcare days and polished up on my apartment floor. Always a conversation piece. Congratulations from one of the residents. The other residents are much nicer and less noisy.
Thank you very much, sir. You honor us with your participation in this award event. Your remarks were very encouraging. We want to wish you the very best. You have a friend in all of us. Again, many thanks to the HUD and ACHP staff, and certainly to our respective leaders, Secretary Carson, certainly our own Chairman, Amy Georgiani. They contributed hard work that led to this award ceremony that we celebrate today. Our heartfelt congratulations to all involved of preserving the historic Ashe Hotel. I want to thank each of you and ask that you convey to the members of your respective organizations our congratulations and appreciation. And to you individually and collectively, on behalf of the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, we want to applaud you and ask again that we continue together on this noble journey of preserving this nation's rich and diverse cultural heritage. Thank you again, and have a good day, my friends.